Yeah, it's a big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kallas and Marks with your host, Joe Staszak and Steve Kallas. A little late, but we're going to preview week five of week six, actually, because there's, it's technically week five. But Steve, how you doing, my friend? We're going to talk a little baseball first. I know you were away, but I know you're caught up. This town is
Oh,
going crazy because the Phillies had a 3-0 lead.
yeah.
Shohei Ohtani did nothing, struck out four times, three times looking. But after the second inning, he settled down in terms of from the mound, and they got a big home run late, scored a couple runs in the sixth and seventh, and won the game coming back from 3-0. They take game one. 72% of the teams who take game one in a five-game series win. And it's the Dodgers, man. I mean, the Dodgers are loaded. I mean, they may have slept walked a little bit through the season, but they're still pretty loaded.
Yeah, it looks like they're at the right time. I did, well, as you know, I did a preview of the whole playoffs with our buddy Rick Morris, and I picked a repeat of last year with the Dodgers beating the Yankees. But my backup, my backup wimp out plan was I think whoever wins the Phillies Dodgers series will win the World Series. That's how I'm covering everything because I just don't believe in the American League. And if you're going to argue, I guess you'd argue for the Brewers rather than the Dodgers or the Phillies. But look, Otani, what you said, I know he's the greatest player who ever lived. Everyone forgot about Babe Ruth. I was just looking at Babe Ruth's records in the World Series. He was 3-0. He had 29 scoreless innings in a row. Back then, everybody and their mother pitched 9 innings. As you know, nowadays, this is the longest Otani's gone. They brought him back slowly. Give him credit for that. I thought they might use him as a reliever because the criticism on the Dodgers is their bullpen. Well, they got a
Mhm.
little better at the end of the regular season. But I think I told you Johnny saw Blake Snell pitch, not the other day, but his last start before. And he was like, he looked like Blake Snell when he was one of the best pitchers, Cy Young Award winner. And he looked good in the playoffs as well. They did put Clayton Kershaw back on the roster. You know about this, right? He wasn't on the roster for the wild card, probably because they only had 3 games. But now he's back on, and Robert said he'd be a reliever. So Otani's going to be the starter, and maybe Clayton Kershaw will be the reliever. We know his record. We've talked about it. But I do still think the Dodgers Phillies winner is going to win it all. Toronto bludgeoned the Yankees 10-1. Yankees were fortunate, I thought, to get by the Red Sox after losing game one. Normally, those guys win what, 75% of the series in a 3-game series if you win game one.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot going on. I thought the Padres could beat the Cubs, but I was wrong. And we'll see what happens, but I think the winner of Phillies Dodgers, and you're right, this was one they could have won. And scoring 3 runs off of Otani when he's Otani in 6 innings is good. Um, but Teoscar Hernandez, he hit that 3-run homer, uh, and that kind of ended the game, frankly.
It did, and that's a tough loss. You have a 3-0 lead, and people are questioning Rob Thompson and pulling, um, or bringing Robertson back for another inning. But they didn't hit after the second inning. All right, forget about pitching and whatever. Yeah, I get all that, but they got three runs in the second inning and went quiet. They're top of the order again. When you look back, they went like 1 for 12, and Harper had a single. Schwarber didn't do anything. They had opportunities. Here we go
Well,
again.
if I can mention one thing about the Guardians. So Ramirez is a Hall of Famer to me. And he's the guy they decided to pay a few years ago, but kind of let a lot of other guys go. Um, but I thought he made a terrible running mistake in game one. He got to third base. They were down a run. He got to third base with nobody out. I don't know if it was a single and then 2 errors on the same play or what it was. But on a ground ball to the pitcher with 1 out, he took off for home. And wasn't even thrown out. He stopped 20 feet from home, and the catcher came out and tagged him. And after the game, he said, I was going on contact. Um, But as you know, in Little League, well, not Little League, but as soon as you're playing 90-foot bases, if you're on third and you want to score, and there was one out at the time, you go, what do you say? If it's a ground ball to the pitcher, don't go.
Hmm.
So for Ramirez to say, and again, I think he's a superstar. He's not appreciated for how good he is, but he just left on contact and never got near home plate. And they would have had at least one more chance. It obviously would have been two outs with a man on third, and they didn't get it. So I thought that really hurt them because that would have tied up the game late and would have given them a chance to win. Not that they would have won, but would have given them a chance to win. And I don't know. I just thought it was dumb base running. I talked to a friend of mine who's a diehard Cleveland fan, and he said, this is how the guy plays. He goes, he goes, he goes. And then in the final game, you recall, they're losing 6-1. There's two men on. He hits a ball that is a bang bang play at first, but he gets by the first baseman. Both of those runs score. Ramirez tries to go to second, and he's thrown out. End of inning, down 6-3. Where are you going? You're going nowhere.
Hmm.
So he's a great player, Ramirez, but I thought those were two mistakes that hurt them. Again, not saying that would have made them win, especially in the second one. They were losing 6-3 when he was tagged out at second. Um, but these are the little things I think that can affect games. Aaron Judge, how's he going to do in the playoffs? He's up. He's up yesterday, 3-2, 3-2 count. Shaky first strike call on him, one of those low and away that maybe was a perfect strike, but the 3-2 pitch was out of the zone by 3 inches, bases loaded, and he swung at it like a little leaguer. It was very disappointing. If he takes the pitch, it's a run. Um, Cody Bellinger walked on the next play and a run scored, and then Stanton struck out. So I'm worried about Judge in the playoffs. He's got that rep, and we'll just have to see what happens the rest of these games.
All right, let's move on to football. Big slate here today. I mean, the Vikings are underway actually with the Browns. I guess they stayed across the pond. They played in Ireland last week. They're playing the Browns right now in London. They need to kind of bounce back from a loss to the Steelers abroad last week, and Carson Wentz gets another start. Browns been hanging around, and they obviously have made a change in their quarterback position too. They're going with Dylan Gabriel today. Your thoughts on that game?
Did you hear the interview with Primetime's kid?
Yeah, he kind of mimed it.
That wasn't. He wouldn't speak. Did you see this?
I did.
Uh, that's a little much. But I thought they might make him the number two.
Right. Why would Flacco be two and then he? Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
So I don't know. Look, you got to see what Gabriel to do. Flacco, I think, is done. He's done some things the last few years, which made you think maybe, maybe, maybe. But now what? He's 41 or whatever he is, and it just hasn't happened. You might as well see what you've got. Although, again, as you know, the Browns have an excellent defense, but I don't think they're going anywhere. And so I'd like to see both of them play. I'd like to see both of the rookies play. See what you got. But I like the Vikings. I like their defense. It's hard to put Gabriel in there against a Vikings defense, just like it's hard to put a rookie quarterback in against the Browns defense. So we'll see what happens. I don't view that to be a really big game myself. But you're right. We'll see what Carson Wentz can do.
Eagles home trying to keep their undefeated record alive against the Broncos. A lot of people are with the spread are taking the Broncos in this one. Don't understand it myself. Broncos are 2-2, 0-2 on the road. Everyone jumped on them in the offseason. Oh, they're going to be the team this year. Okay. Um, all
I
right. I'm
I
waiting to
still
see it.
I kind of like the Broncos because they're an excellent defensive team. Nick's hasn't taken that next big step. He certainly played a little better lately. And yeah, they're 2-2, but they won that game that they lost after the final buzzer when they were winning. It's their own fault, of course. They committed the penalty on the field goal they missed, and then they lost the game on the field goal that was made. But I do think they're really good. I just think Sean Payton, his reputation to me gets less and less. over the years. You know, he won the one Super Bowl. I agreed with him totally that year when he got that rule passed about challenging, but that went out the door after I'd say less than a year. You'll recall the last 6 weeks, the referees wouldn't overturn a non-call on a pass interference. So I'm concerned about them. I did think they could threaten though, Joe. I don't know that they could win today. But you know, that's more about the Eagles to me than about Denver. Denver has a real good defense. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens to the Eagles offense because the AJ Brown thing keeps coming in and out of to the forefront, and the Eagles offense sputters at one half and then dominates the next. But 4-0 is 4-0, puts them in a good spot. Commanders get Jay Daniels back tonight and see if they can, get things going. They're 2-2. At the Chargers, who are coming off a loss. Um, your thoughts on the Commanders now back with their marquee quarterback?
Well, is he healthy? I don't know if it was Orlovsky on ESPN, but you know, they he kept saying, "Oh, you have to be careful. You have to be 100% sure." Well, he missed 2 games. I assume they are 100% sure. Otherwise, they would have tried to play him last week. So, but you got to see if he can run because running is a big part of his game. I think the Commanders can be a dangerous team, but you know, now it's hard to tell after he's missed a couple of games. And again, we'll see what happens. But you can't even say what. First of all, he's not going to improve off of last year. I don't know if it's possible he was so good last year. Um, but we'll just have to see if he can get if he's 100%. If he's a stand in the pocket quarterback because he can't run real well, then Orlovsky might be right. Maybe he shouldn't be playing. But I'm assuming he can run well, and I'm assuming he's almost, if not 100% already. But once again, you got to watch these games, and you'll be able to tell after the first 1 or 2 times they have the ball. Where is he? What is he? Is he okay? Is he 100%? Can he sprint? Can he dodge? We'll have to find out when the game starts.
Yeah, most of these guys after week one are not 100%. It's like a pipe dream after week one, but is he enough to go? He's obviously enough to go, and yeah, we'll see what he does back on the field this afternoon, um, as the Commanders face the Chargers tonight. Patriots at the Bills. Now the Bills are 4-0, the only other undefeated team, along with the Eagles, but they haven't played anyone. And your son Johnny, laid it out. They've beaten no one, but they've beaten everybody. So they're 4-0, and the Patriots are coming off a shellacking of Carolina last week, and 7.5 point dog in Orchard Park tonight. Your thoughts?
I take the 7.5. Who's leading the NFL in completion percentage?
Would that be Drake May?
You got it. Didn't have that in our pool, did we? But no, look, I think the Patriots are better than most people think, but do I think they're real good? No. Do I think they have a chance? Yeah, I think they have a chance. I mean, look at the games. Was it the Giants who beat? Did the Giants beat the Chargers last week?
Yeah,
How did that happen? You know,
how did
that
that happen?
there's been 6 or 7 of those games where you go, how did that happen?
Hmm.
So, do I think it's possible? It's possible, but I think they have a puncher's chance to win. But if I didn't pick that game, but if I did, I would take the Patriots and the points.
I'm with you on that, and I did take that game. We'll get to picks in a second. Last game tonight, Jaguars coming off a big win in San Francisco, who, by the way, we haven't talked about, they did beat the Rams the other night. Um, that's always a slugfest, that game, Rams and the 49ers, but they're hosting the Chiefs, who looked like they came around and became the Chiefs last week. Um, and they beat up pretty good on the Ravens, who though can't stop anyone. 3.5 point favorites tonight are the Chiefs in Jacksonville. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I looked at FanDuel this morning and it's down to 3, believe it or not. So I kind of like the Chiefs because I think what you saw last week is what you're going to see now, and they're only going to get faster. So I think they might, and again, even Mahomes said it the other day. Well, we want to get earlier starts. We haven't scored much in the first quarter and blah, blah, blah. Once we do, we've got Spags. So I really like the Chiefs, and I did pick that game, but we're still on the 6 week thing. And but I think the Chiefs did come back. I don't think that was a fluke last week. I think that's what they're going to be able to do, which they couldn't do in the past. And imagine if you can get Kansas City's defense playing with a lead where they can pin back their ears and go. And I think Spags is still the best defensive coordinator, and I think he uses the blitz as well or better than anybody. There are a couple of other candidates, the Bucks, etc. But I really do like the Chiefs in that game. Uh, I look now. I understand they're playing, but who have the Jaguars beat? Did they really beat anybody?
They beat San Francisco, who's 4-1.
Yeah, but the
Other than
49ers,
that, no.
the 49ers, I mean, that's a knock on the Rams to me. The 49ers had like 10 guys on the couldn't play list. I mean, 10 guys who play, including Purdy, of course. But you do have to give him credit. Mac Jones, it looks like him and Daniel Jones right now for MVP, if you ask me.
But with Shanahan, good things are going to happen, I guess, if he's the quarterback whisperer, because Mac Jones was done, toast. And look, he got Brock Purdy $50 million, and now he's doing his thing with Mac Jones. 4-1 is 4-1.
And McVay did take. He totally took. You saw at the end they went for it on 4th and 1 from the 11. They could
Yeah,
have picked the chippy for.
get the yard. All right. I mean, maybe he didn't like the call, and it always looks bad in hindsight. Get the freaking
Right.
yard.
Right. Well, to his credit, he said, "Well, in hindsight, I wish we had kicked the field goal." But
Well, right. Everything's the look on his face, like you could tell he was really upset at the press conference. And he's a nice guy. He put it on himself. Get the yard.
I think it's a terrible loss for the Rams.
Really bad loss for the Rams. They now have two horrible losses. Losing that game to the Eagles after being up 27,
26-7. Yeah,
26-7.
you're right.
I don't think the Rams are as good as people think they are. They're a little bit away. They haven't been able to close out games. Let's put it that way, and that might change. Because I love Nakua and Stafford when he's on. I mean, that team looks pretty slick. But
Yeah.
yeah, but the Niners and the Rams it's almost like throw out the records because the Niners and the Rams when they play in a game like that comes down to the
Well,
wire.
Stafford was 30 for 47 for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hard to believe they lost if you were given that stat,
Right?
but they lost.
They
And
lost.
look, Mac Jones, 33 for 49 for 342 with 2 touchdowns.
That's a lot of slinging it. That's a lot of slinging it.
It's becoming even more of an offensive league than it's been in the last few years. By the way, I think I hope I sent it to you. I did see an article about the new rules from the Athletic, the new rules relating to the footballs that you kick, that you get. The teams get the balls now in advance. It used to be they only got them like the day of the game, and they whatever they do to them, which is legal apparently. They used to get the balls the day of, and now they get them like a week before or something. And they quoted a bunch of people said this is going to make field goal kicking easier. They might
It
change
has
it now
obviously
because it's becoming too easy.
almost too easy.
So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, picks, my friend. I'm gonna start. I went 1-2. 500 on the year. Um, the Eagles keep bailing me out, and they bailed me out last week. But I like today my three pad. I like the Patriots. We talked about that 7.5, and um, I also like the Commanders getting Jay Daniels back. I'm not sure about LA now. I watched them play 3 games. They won, and then they looked terrible against the Giants and Jackson Dart. And I actually like the Jags at home. I like home dogs. Doesn't mean they have to win the game. I see 3.5 still. 3 doesn't matter. I don't worry about that half a point. I think the Jags can still cover the game, win or lose. But I like them at home. I like the way they've been playing. So I like the Jags against the Chiefs tonight. Your picks.
I was 2-1 in last week, but I'm probably under 500. But as I said, the first 6 weeks, I wouldn't. I would just do these for entertainment purposes. Well, We do them all for entertainment
No,
purposes.
only entertainment purposes.
Okay. Um, I like the Cowboys on the road against the Jets. They're -1.5. I just think the Jets are not good. I mean, they do play well at times, uh, but I don't know how they're going to stop the Cowboys because Dak is Dak. You got to give him credit. If they were winning games, he'd be an MVP candidate.
He
I'm,
would be, yes, that's
I'm going
correct.
to take the Lions -10.5 against the Bengals because the Lions look to me like this year's regular season Ravens in that they're going to kill the bad teams and the Bengals are a bad team. Their defense was terrible before Burrow got hurt, and now their defense is terrible and their offense isn't very good either. So this could be one of these, 42-14 games. I don't know what the over is, but the Lions are good enough to beat some overs by themselves. And I know that's a lot of points, and I know you tell me they can be up 17 late and score that meaningless touchdown. And then I'm taking the Chiefs -3. I did look at FanDuel before we started. The Jaguars are good. They have a good defense, but I think we saw the Chiefs becoming the Chiefs. I'm not going to say of last year, but I'm going to say the Chiefs who can put a lot of points on the board. And I think they have a chance to do that, especially if they get off to a good early start, as Mahomes is talking about. That's their focus. Are they good enough to do that? Well, I think they are good enough to do it, but we'll see. When that line came out, I wrote you a text. I said, I love the Chiefs -3. It was 3.5 when I said that to you, but it's 3 now at least on FanDuel. So I'm going Cowboys, Lions, and Chiefs.
Cowboys, Lions, and Chiefs. All right.
They all go against the Joe Staszak rule, by the way.
What's it? What rule would that be?
Picking favorites on the road, especially if it's like 10 or something like that. You're usually right. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Favorites actually had a very nice year last year. They were up 5%. So maybe whatever is swinging that pendulum, maybe I got to get off my dogs. But we'll see. What's week six? Is it next week's week six? All right. So we need one more week of information, and then we'll get serious about our picks. Good stuff, man. We'll be back actually in a couple days, like 2 days to recap what we just talked about. And I apologize again. I got an infection in my too much information, but
We're,
it's hard for me to talk.
we're the walking wounded.
I'm walking wounded. But Steve, you can follow his stuff on his Facebook forum page, Speaking of Sports, with Steve Kallas on Facebook every day. And you can follow me on Instagram at JoeStaszak4799 or on X, Twitter at JoeStaszak975. Good stuff, my friend. There's a game going on right now if you want to catch it. It's nothing, but I don't know what they're doing to the Vikings, keeping them international 2 weeks in a row. Are you kidding me with that? But anyway, Carson Wentz. And another start. We'll see if it works out better than it did last week. Good stuff, my friend. We'll catch you a little later.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
You too. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you in 2 days.